Well, welcome to General Manager's Corner. Today we have a very special guest, not a general manager, but we have Henry Delozier from Global Golf Advisors, or GGA Partners now. Thank you for joining.
Thank you, Howard. Pleasure.
Yes. Um, One thing that I wanted to kind of talk to you about is we've seen this long-term trend away from formal dining over into casual dining. Um, how have you seen this evolve over the years, and how do these differ between the clubs that you have worked with?
I've seen it evolve in stops and starts. What we find is, it for the longest time, the idea of casual dining was not clubby enough, and now the notion of al fresco or casual dining is the must-have in every club that we see. What has changed? People have changed. Our expectations of what constitutes a comfortable dining experience has changed. And I believe that we will continue to see evolution on that point.
Mhm. Speaking of like the social and gathering aspect of it, would you consider the bar or the bar scene a central part of the F&B and the social membership, or do you see another part of it? How does that sort of work?
The bar is the easy gathering point. It's an easy destination when we say, I'll meet you at 6 at the bar. And while we may be going to dinner elsewhere in the club, that's our starting point. And so it becomes a highly social destination. And let's face it, people join a private club because they want a platform for socialization.
Right.
So if the bar is that platform, then it becomes the hub. And as a result, that hub requirement dictates certain necessities. Of course, you all know this better than I do as far as how you work off of that hub to leverage the strength and the hospitality that comes from that.
Um, with F&B, and especially with your unique perspective between communities and private clubs, how would you say those differ as far as the social interaction, and how do you see that going forward?
It, they differ in terms of social interaction because the club feels like the innermost ring of the bullseye. That seems to be the place where most people seek to be. However, we're seeing an evolution in the last 20 years or so where there are many people who buy into a community with a club and they're not interested in the club. They're not belongers. They've had a bad experience previously. Perhaps they have some economic constraints, but we're seeing more and more of a polarization between the we in the club and the they in the rest of the community. And it's something for which everyone has to be very careful. From a design standpoint, the notion of inclusion is really important. Right now we're all mindful of diversity, equity, and inclusion, but people move into a master plan community with a club because they want that socialization. And homeowner associations, property owner associations do well to find ways to connect to the club for that socialization because most people want it. I mean, let's face it, if you wanted to be a hermit, you probably wouldn't live in a club community.
Right.
And so that becomes a really critical factor.
Yeah. And so you're sort of like drilling down on this idea of like lifestyle and how that becomes like a central element. What do you think as far as the club industry, what do they need to do to sort of attract this next generation of younger members?
Be relevant. And of course, that seems to be the obvious answer. But to achieve relevance for the rising generations, it's alertness to the wants and needs of women in the club. There's plenty of data out there suggesting that it is 9 out of 10 women who influence the purchase of a home. Where one buys one's home typically dictates the proximity to the club. So the significance and the impact of women will dictate the future of private clubs, excluding those that are very strictly golf-oriented, shooting-oriented, or male-oriented.
Yeah.
But the future of private clubs is in the hands of their women.
Right. So foundationally, you mentioned going back to what you're talking about with golf. Golf has always been like a very integral part of many country clubs over the years. Um, looking beyond golf, what do you see as far as like amenities? What are the trend in amenities for clubs going forward?
And I think you're speaking of amenities beyond dining.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yes.
you all do such a fantastic job on designing those amenities that support the social lifestyle. But beyond that, and to sports amenities, more non-golf amenities. The by far and away, as you know, the most demanding amenity that is golf oriented these days is in the golf technology, swing training, swing analysis, being able to record and conduct golf instruction remotely,
Yes.
important. But it is non-golf amenities that will surge most aggressively, in my opinion, in the next 10 to 20 years.
And then one final question about technology. You know, with the younger members, they've embraced technology in ways that older members have not. How have you been advising your clients about what to do with technology, how much to bring in, how to incorporate it?
We advise that clients be aggressive about bringing in technology. For those above the average age line in a club, they're going to struggle the most with the new technologies. And there's a need for a lot of training, a lot of facilitation, and yet that should not hold clubs back from embracing and using technology to improve services, to improve operational efficiencies, and to enhance the lifestyle experience of the members.
Well, thank you for all the great insight and thanks for joining us.
It's always
Appreciate
a
it,
pleasure,
Henry.
Howard. Thank you.
Thank you.